Examine the subsequent function. Which of the following statements correctly describes this function? Well, let's take a look at our answer choices. A says if y squared is equal to 16, then x must be equal to 12. To see if this is true, we could plug in 12 for x and solve for y, or in this case, y squared. Let's save that for last and take a look at our other answer choices. B says the function is defined for all real numbers. Well, immediately we should think of our square root here. A square root function is undefined when the number underneath the radical is negative. Any negative number, you cannot find the square root of a negative number because no two identical numbers multiply together to give you a negative result. Therefore, B is incorrect because all real numbers includes negative numbers, and we cannot have a defined negative number under the square root. C says for any non-negative x, y is non-negative as well. This is also not true because anytime we take the square root of a number, let's say we take the square root of 4, we will get two different results. We will get a positive result and a negative result because negative 2 times 2 can give us positive 4, and positive 2 times positive 2 can give us 4. So C is incorrect because y could be negative or positive. D says the function is defined only to x values greater than negative 4. So let's think about what that means for a moment. We have y equals the square root of x, which is any value greater than negative 4. We'll call that negative 3. If we were to resolve this, we'd have negative 3 plus 4, which will give us positive 1. So that is defined. We can take the square root of positive 1. What if we were to look at the opposite of this range that the problem gave us? If we were to plug in a number that is less than negative 4, like negative 5. Then we would start to get values that are negative underneath the radical, and that is not defined. So you may be tempted to pick D as the correct answer here. However, we need to be careful with the language. This function is defined only to values greater than negative 4. But if we were to plug in negative 4, negative 4 plus 4 would give us 0, and the square root of 0 is a definable number. So because we excluded negative 4 within this range, answer choice D is incorrect. So by process of elimination, A is the correct answer, but let me show you why. Answer choice A says if y squared equals 16, then x must equal 12. So let's plug in 12 for x. We'll have the square root of 12 plus 4. Then when we solve under the radical, we'll have 12 plus 4 is 16. And to get rid of this radical, we need to do the opposite and square both sides of this equation. The radical and the square will cancel on this side, leaving us with y squared equals 16, what was underneath the radical. So it is true that when x equals 12, y squared equals 16, making A our correct answer.